Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Small, psychotherapist, mental health nutritionist, and your friendly neighborhood witch, bringing you today the Resistance Survival Kit Naturopathic Edition, where we're going to talk about supplements that can help you with the resistance. If our country's current political and social climate has you feeling a bit funky, if you don't enjoy racism, sexism, homophobia, etc., I'm going to share with you 4 of my favorite supplements for combating anxiety and extreme emotional sensitivity so you can get back to work, in the streets, in the trenches, via your heart, doing whatever it is you do to continue the fight. 2 caveats before I start. One is that these supplements are intended for in-the-moment needs. If anxiety is an ongoing issue for you, if emotional sensitivity is an ongoing issue, this isn't an allopathic model, a conventional medical model, where one problem equals one solution. So you have anxiety, you take this. When you're looking at things truly from a naturopathic perspective, you're looking at all of the systems and you're trying to find root causes. So if any of these issues are ongoing for you, I suggest you connect with a mental health nutritionist that might also be a trauma therapist, such as myself, or a qualified naturopathic doctor or someone like that. The second caveat is these supplements and tinctures should be tried when all of your regular foundational pieces are in place and you're still feeling like you got hit over the head with a frying pan. So if you haven't eaten all day and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling like that because when your blood sugar crashes, your anxiety fires, or rather your adrenaline fires, and that causes anxiety. So try eating 3 meals a day first. Try having adequate protein and fat to keep your blood sugar stable. Meditation, time in nature, emotional release like crying and screaming, spiritual practice, watching ridiculously funny things. All of those other pieces should be tried and in place too. These aren't substitutes for the good basic self-care things. That said, if you're doing your self-care and you're still struggling with anxiety, feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, you might want to try one of these 4 items. The first one I'm going to suggest to you, and by the way, there's about 1 million. These are just my top 4. The first one I'm going to suggest to you is GABA Calm. GABA Calm. I have a Boston accent on a few words, and calm is one of them. And I have confused many clients because they have been looking for GABA Calm instead of GABA Calm. This is GABA Calm. These are lozenges, and these are 125 milligrams. GABA is the neurotransmitter that tells your adrenaline to stop going. So you can see how if you're low in GABA, your adrenaline's just going to fire and fire and fire and fire, and there's nothing to mitigate it. You can also see how if you are in a situation of chronic or extreme stress or trauma, and your adrenaline's going, your GABA's going to have to keep coming out, and you're going to get depleted in GABA. So in other words, longer term, you're going to be more susceptible to adrenaline firing without being able to calm it. This is an amino acid called GABA. An amino acid is simply protein. And this is the raw material that you make GABA, the neurotransmitter, out of. Well, that your body makes it out of. I mentioned the dosage on this because a lot of times GABA supplements come in 500 milligrams or 750 milligrams. That's a really high dose. Some people might need that, but what I suggest is that you get a smaller dose, take one, wait 15 minutes to 30 minutes, see if you're calmer, and if not, take another one, and so on. I'd say you can take up to 500 milligrams at a time. Again, some people need more. Pay attention to your body. But it's going to take 15 to 30 minutes to metabolize in your body, so you'll need a little time. There's something else I was going to say about GABA. I guess not. I guess that's it. Oh, it's also good for overwhelm. So that feeling you have when you have enough time to do everything that you need to do, but you feel like you don't, like you have 3 things to do and you have 4 hours, but your brain feels like a scrambled egg, you're low in GABA. Take some GABA. Next supplement for the resistance, DL-phenylalanine. This again makes a neurotransmitter called endorphins. Endorphins are your body's natural painkillers. And this applies to both physical pain and emotional pain. So someone who's in chronic physical or emotional pain is going to have their body firing from your natural store of endorphins and ultimately becoming depleted, rendering you even more sensitive. This is good also for people who are just the sensitive souls, who carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. And one diagnostic tool I use for this is I ask, were you that sensitive child? Because by the time someone's an adult, they may say, well, I don't cry easily and I don't consider myself particularly sensitive. But then you ask them, were you extremely emotionally sensitive when you were little? And they say, oh yeah, good indicator that you might be low in endorphins. Like me, someone who, when I was 10 years old, became a vegetarian because I was at Legal Seafood seeing a lobster getting weighed and started crying and didn't want to contribute to the suffering of animals on Earth. I eat meat now because I have to, by the way. So it comes in a dosage of 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams. And again, you can play with the dosage on this. But I would try, 1,000 milligrams, wait 15 minutes to 30 minutes and see how you feel. This is the material to make endorphins. It should help you feel less emotionally sensitive. It also helps when you're craving substances that fire endorphins, like alcohol, heroin, sugar, pain pills. Now for the real witchy ones. Bach flower remedies. These are homeopathic preparations. Homeopathy is basically when you take a substance and distill it so much that only its energetic imprint remains. How does that work? You're not taking anything. Well, you're taking its energy. And we're really only energy, so it works, if it's the right tincture. This one I want to show you today is called Rock Rose. This is for courage in the presence of terror and fear. So it's when you, or a part of you, is convinced that all hope is lost, that gut-clenching feeling of doom. This can be incredibly helpful. You just take a couple drops in your mouth, and while the amino acids will take 15 to 30 minutes to feel, this should feel really quickly if it's the right thing for you. One other Bach flower remedy I want to highlight, and there's a lot of good ones for the resistance, one of my personal favorites, Star of Bethlehem. This one is for shock, especially shock that comes with grief. So if you've just dealt with a trauma, an accident, a loss, I actually dealt with something last week where immediately I started pounding Star of Bethlehem. And because of all of the shocks and traumas that our country is going through lately, I thought this might be a nice one for you to add to your repertoire as well. As with anything, your intuition should be a really important guide. I've guided people to pick Bach flower remedies based on them looking at them and intuitively feeling, does this feel right for me or not? If you don't feel any different, it wasn't the right one for you. Or you need a good cry or scream instead. So those are 4 of my many, many, many potions that I have in my toolkit for the resistance. I'd love to know yours. I hope this was helpful. If you found this helpful, please share with your friends. Thank you.